So I moved from England to Sweden about 2 months ago. The boxes containing most of my possessions, including this sketchbook, have arrived after weeks of waiting, and now I can finally do a flip through of my Inktober drawings of 2019. Kia ora everyone, this is Hey Johanna. So today's video is going to be slightly different. I'm just going to flip through my Inktober drawings of 2019. So if that's not your jam, then that's cool. I just thought I'd let you know early on. I'm so happy to finally be able to make this video, as I've been waiting for ages for this book to arrive so that I could actually flip through it with you. So, you know, it's been a long time coming. 2019 was the first year that I actively participated in the challenge that is Inktober. So basically the idea is that there's an official prompt list for every single day in October, and the challenge is to create a drawing inspired by that prompt for every single day. So in past years I always wanted to do Inktober, but I either didn't get around to it or I forgot that it was happening or something. But 2019 was the year that I was absolutely positive that I was gonna get a drawing out every single day, and I did, and I'm so proud of myself for that. So I thought I'd just share with you the drawings and a couple of comments about each of them today. So without further ado, let's get into it. So I thought I'd start out with some of the materials I used, just to let you know how I did these drawings and everything. So I had my Pentel Techniclick mechanical pencil. It's just a mechanical pencil, there's nothing special about that. I used mostly these Unipin fine liners, mostly the black ones, but I also did have the dark grey and the light grey, which were quite helpful when I needed a little bit more depth in my drawings. I didn't use them much, but when I did, I loved the effect. I also used the brush pen in the Unipin, which just was able to give me thicker lines and everything, so that's one of my favorite pens now. And I also used my microns, and it really just depended on what I felt like on the day, because there's not really much difference between the Unipin fine liners and the Pigma microns, but sometimes I felt like using my microns and sometimes I felt like using my Unipins, so yeah. And then of course I had my little sketchbook, which is just an A6 sketchbook by C. White of Brighton, which is where I used to live, and that's everything. So I did it in such a small sketchbook because I knew that, you know, this was going to be a bit of a struggle for me. There was lots going on for me in October, and I just really wanted a confirmed way to get out these 31 drawings. So I decided to do it smaller, because otherwise I would have been too ambitious. I would have tried to do either A5 or A4 pieces every single day, and it just would have been too hard, and I would have probably given up or just failed in some way. So yeah, I'm really pleased that I decided to do it quite small. Anyway, let's get into the actual drawings. So day one was the prompt ring, and this one was pretty easy, pretty simple, didn't take me too long. I just thought of, you know, rings around Saturn, so that's what that was inspired by. Incidentally, this sort of patterned motif inside the planet here, I decided to use as a theme throughout all of my Inktober drawings. I just really liked it. I thought it was super fun. It was kind of relaxing to do and nice and easy, so you'll see that theme repeated throughout the whole of these drawings. Day two was mindless, so again there's that kind of patterned motif. It's just a girl without a head, and yeah, you know, there's not that much I can say about that one. So day three was bait, so I just drew a like koi fish kind of thing, and the pattern isn't really in here, but it kind of is in the tail. It's sort of mystical kind of thing going on. I also use a lot of dot work in these drawings, as you'll see. That's something I quite like to do with these fine liners, especially if I'm not going to colour the piece. That's just how I give it texture and lots of depth and lots of, you know, shadow and everything. So yeah, you'll see a lot of the dot work, and again, a lot of that sort of swirly pattern. So day four was freeze, and I was so proud of this piece when I first did it. I'm just not that good at drawing animals, and a lot of the drawings in this Inktober ended up being animals, which kind of surprised me because, again, I'm not that good at drawing them. But this bird turned out just so amazing, and then the icicles, I loved them, and the tree branch and everything. So this is one of my favorite pieces. I actually almost want to get this as a tattoo or something. So day four was build. This one was quite hard for me. I didn't really know what to do. I've just kind of got this abstract cuboid kind of thing going on with a snowy mountain scene in the background. Day six was husky. Again, I was kind of struggling with this, so I ended up drawing an actual like husky slash wolf and kind of incorporating that swirling motif and the dot work and everything. I don't love this one, but you know, I did it, so I was pretty happy. Day 7 was Enchanted. This one's actually quite simple really. It didn't take me too long. It's just a hand with sort of magical symbols and some dot work and everything. And you know, I was actually really quite proud of this because if 2019 Inktober taught me anything, it was how to draw hands better, interestingly enough. So when I drew that hand, I thought it just came out so much better than any of the other hands I'd ever drawn. So I was quite proud of that one. Day 8 was Frail, so it's, you know, there's not much to explain there, just some frail plants. This sort of fern thing is actually a nod to my New Zealand culture because I really miss New Zealand. At this time I was in Italy traveling around with my parents, so I was thinking a lot about New Zealand and how much I missed them and how much I missed home and everything, so that's why I incorporated that in there. Day 9 was Swing. Now I didn't really know what to do for this prompt word. Swing was quite a hard one, so I just decided to have this sort of jumping fox creature with like a really massive tail swinging around. So that was the whole sort of inspiration for that word. I think it turned out quite good actually. I really want to make this into a bigger piece because I really quite like this and I'd like to have it up on my wall or colour it or frame it or something. So I need to remember that one and redo it at some point. Day 10 was Pattern. I was on the Amalfi Coast when I did this one and I thought it was going to be an easy one. I thought it was going to be like a day off, but this took me honestly longer than most of the drawings. It was just so intricate and so difficult, and then I'd finally finished and I spilled a glass of Coke all over it. But it was really nice doing this one because I remember just sitting in my Airbnb with the windows wide open. It was like 10 p.m. or something and I could hear the sea and it was beautifully warm, and yeah, so that's what that one reminds me of. So day 11 was Dragon. I just thought I'd do this sort of dragon priestess thing. Again, the dot work, this sort of spirally kind of pattern. Yeah. Day 12 was Snow. This was actually kind of a difficult one to do because I wasn't particularly inspired. As I said, around this time I was on the Amalfi Coast in Italy, so I really wasn't feeling the snow vibe, you know. It was gorgeous outside, it was so warm, and I was wearing summer dresses, and then I had this prompt snow, and I was kind of like, I don't know what to do with this. So I just did this kind of snowy sort of landscape thing. This actually really reminds me of pieces by Derek Myers, who you should definitely go and check out. I love Derek Myers' work. Day 13 was Ash. I really like this piece, it's kind of just graphic and cool. And again, I put the fern in there. Day 14 was Overgrown. So it's just kind of like a little, I think it's a cat skull, I think that's what I used the reference for, with sort of overgrown ivy leaves and stuff coming out. And again, as you can see, I sort of just incorporated the spiral pattern in wherever I wanted to. Day 15 was Legend. So this one was kind of difficult for me. I'd had a really big day. Me and my family went around Pompeii and Herculaneum. So I came back and it was like 11 p.m. and I just didn't really feel like drawing and I didn't know what to do for Legend. So I basically just did this easy stingray kind of a thing, and it's sort of a nod to some of the New Zealand legends. If you know it, you know it. Day 16 was Wild. I actually really loved this piece. It was about this time that I realized I was getting much more confident at putting my pen to the paper and kind of just starting a drawing and not being scared to muck it up or anything. So this didn't take me too long at all, and I think it turned out, you know, it's kind of cute. Day 17 was Ornament. I knew that I wanted to do some like really ornamental drawing for this one, so I kind of did this self-portrait with almost an Art Nouveau feel behind it. This is probably one of my favorite ones, and again, this is one that I want to translate into a bigger piece, maybe with color and a bit more detail and everything, but yeah, this was definitely one of my favorites. Day 18 was Misfit. There's not really that much to read into here. It's a girl and she obviously feels like a misfit. Whoa, so deep, Holly. Day 19 was Sling. So I was on the plane coming back from Italy when I drew this, and I kind of didn't know what to do for Sling because all I could think of was the sling that you put your arm in when you break it. Anyway, this one was weird and I did it on a plane, so give me some credit for that. Day 20 was Tread, so it's just a unicorn treading. Again, it's another animal, and I'm just not that good at drawing animals, but I sort of got kind of better at it throughout this whole process. Day 21 was Treasure. I love this piece so much. I think it just turned out so beautiful and so graphic and everything with the gems and the hands. I was really proud of myself for that one. Day 22 was Ghost. I'm just gonna say it, this is the one that I hate the most. Ugh, it's just one of my least favorites, so let's just pass on. Day 23 was Ancient, and I kind of thought of two-headed cats and two-headed dogs. I'm not thrilled with this one either. I kind of felt like I was losing my mojo a little bit at this point. Again, I put this sort of spirally pattern in the background there, and it's almost a little bit busy, so maybe that's what's throwing me off about this one. Day 24 was Dizzy. So yeah, this is just a skeleton who's drinking a glass of wine and feeling dizzy. Day 25 was Tasty, so this is just girl with a slice of cake and this nice sort of spirally pattern motif in there again. I quite like this one, but I think I did use someone else's drawing as a reference for this, so I can't claim that this is 100% original. I just don't remember where I got this drawing from, but I don't think that this was like a real photo reference I used, so I don't know. Day 26 was Dark, and again, this isn't totally original. I think I got the idea of these from someone else's creation a couple of years ago, and these sort of tentacle things coming off their back. I got that idea from Princess Mononoke, and if you know, you'll know what I'm talking about, the sort of demon thing. So yeah, but I do really like this piece. I think it's kind of creepy, super cool. I'd like to develop this a little bit more in the future if I can. Day 27 was Coat, so all I could think about was my dog and his furry coat, and I missed him so much. At this point, my parents had already gone back to New Zealand and I'd gone back to the UK. And I was thinking about them and thinking about my dog who lives in New Zealand, and that's why he's crying, I think, so yeah. Day 28 was Ride, and I sort of just wanted to make a fantastical kind of beast, and designed this deer with these kind of dragon wings and two eyes, and yeah, I mean, how sick would it be if these deer actually existed and they just rocked around, size of elephants, and you could ride them and everything? That would be so much fun. Day 29 was Injured. Now, I thought this piece was going to turn out really good when I did this sketch, because I was super pleased with the proportions of the body and everything, and then I inked it and I was just like, what is this? It just looks wrong. It just looks wrong somehow. Anyway, it's not my favorite piece. So day 30 was Catch, and I kind of imagined this monster who sort of stole your nightmares and turned them back on you. When I was a kid, I used to think that dream catchers were like scary things that caught your nightmares and then brought them back to life. So that was the inspiration for this piece. And I actually really like this. I think I want to, again, I think I want to translate it into a bigger piece. You know, maybe develop it a little bit more, because it's just kind of cool, and it reminded me of that fear that I had as a child. So yeah, I quite like that one. And finally, day 31 was Ripe. Now, I realize that this drawing doesn't exactly scream ripe, but you know, there's little motifs of fruit in there and everything. I just really wanted to expand on the idea that I had a couple back with my ornament one, the Art Nouveau kind of theme that I had going on, because I really love Art Nouveau, and I really love the ornamentation of Art Nouveau and sort of the girls that they put into Art Nouveau. So I just wanted to expand upon that, and I really loved this piece actually. I'm really glad that this was my day 31 piece, because I knew that I wanted the final piece to be quite nice really. I didn't want to end on something pretty weak, so I'm happy with this, and I'm gonna say it again, I think I want to translate this into a bigger piece. I just really like it. I just think it's so pretty. It would be amazing with colour, and if it was bigger, then, you know, it might be one of my favourite works I've ever done. So anyway, that's everything. I'm really pleased and proud of myself for managing to get through the entire month of October and do a drawing every single day, especially with me traveling and, you know, getting ready to move from England to Sweden and everything. So yeah, it was an interesting month, and I think that I learned a lot and I developed my art skill a lot more I got really used to drawing every single day as a habit, which I've kind of kept to since then, and it's January, so it's a couple months on now, and I'm still drawing really often, and that's not necessarily something I was doing before October, so I'm thrilled about that as well. I'm also really happy with some of the pieces I created in here, and you know, even if they're just kind of more thumbnail-y ones, which I'm going to create into bigger pieces later on, I'm really proud of myself for managing to get through 31 days of drawings, and yeah. I recommend that everyone do this challenge if you want to. You don't have to do the full 31 days, you can do it every second day, or you know, you can just pace yourself a little bit, but I personally learned a lot about myself, a lot about my art style, and you know, I got more confident at putting the pen on paper really quickly throughout this process, throughout this month, and I don't know, I just feel like a better artist now because of it, and it was only a month. Again, you can do similar to what I did and just do quite small pieces, like this is A6, so you know, this is a very small piece, this is a very small drawing, so you don't need to do much, but yeah, it's a really good exercise, and I 100% recommend it. Thank you so much for watching this video. It means a lot, especially this one, because this feels like a really personal experience, so I hope you enjoyed it. I am slightly losing my voice, so I really hope I didn't bore you to death with all the talking in this. Kia ora everyone, have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you next time. Bye!